Hey TV fans, Board Now back with you. On this video I will be talking about the second episode of Red Rose from BBC3. Episode 2 is called The Garden. Full spoilers from the start of this review. And this sort of escalates quite fast. Quite a lot going on in this episode, and by the end of it does a good job of setting up what the season is going to be, really. And I like that because there's only 8 episodes in this season. Then it's a good thing. Then by the end of episode 2, you've got a clear picture of what the series is going to be. It takes a little bit of a turn, which I didn't really see coming, but I'm happy. I'm on board with what they do and how they set things up, so that's all good stuff. And it's a strong episode for the most part. There's some good horror scenes. As I said, I like the direction things going. There's a really random, crazy scene in the middle, which I'll discuss, but there's some good stuff. I only really have sort of one complaint, which I'll talk about in a moment, but the fallout from the last episode. So Rochelle comes home. She thinks that her siblings are in danger. She's rushes in back from the party, and this is what I'm talking about. This is a really good suspenseful horror scene. She finds out that they're okay, they're there, but there's a presence in the house. And I think the laptop is on, sort of thing, and it's playing a video with her mother in the woods, which was part of the last episode. But she gets the children out the house, and she's confronted once again with the Red Rose, but also the spirit of her mother appears to her, or I guess in a way it's not the spirit, but her mother appears to her anyway, being used by this Red Rose. But as I said, it's a good scene. It's a good horror scene. It's also a good scene for Rochelle as a character, because she gets to what a lot of good coming of age shows that do. It allows the character to be proactive and sort of shows a bit more maturity, because she has to she's the only one there to protect her 2 siblings, and she gets them out of the house so they're safe. But then she confronts the thing, and we start to see a clearer picture of what Red Rose is doing and how it's manipulating things in this episode. So first of all, the mother, or this image of the mother appearing to Rochelle, and the voice is telling her, I'm always here to look over you and protect you. But then she starts trying to pit her off against her friends, saying that they're not there for you, they'll never be there for you in the way that I am. and it's good stuff, this, and the stuff we see about how things are being manipulated. So for example, the video of her kissing Ren's, I'll say casual boyfriend, because he certainly seems to indicate it's a casual thing later in the episode, but Noah, the video of Rochelle kissing Noah at the party. And by the way, Noah, you son of a bitch, the way you try to distance yourself later and try and pin everything on Rochelle, screw you, pal. And he's not great in that scene, by the way. But anyway, yeah, the kiss from the party, the video is reposted on social media, and that's not something which Rochelle does. So it's again the app doing it to put a further rift between her and Ren. And there's various things like that in the episode. So messages that are sent which either are not received, or they're sort of presented in a different way to Ren. So Rochelle, I think at one point apologizes, but that's posted back to Ren in a different way. And there's a couple of different examples where things are continually like construed in a different way, and like their friendship is really put through the ringer in this episode, and Ren always wants to believe in her friend, but it's obviously, this is where she's really starting to get pissed, and things are being like manipulated, and things start escalating. As I said, now there's quite a good scene as well with Rochelle and with the father, because he starts talking about her mother and about how she was a mysterious person, like she was a special person, but she was also very disturbed, because Rochelle starts asking about like ghosts and things like this. So she's obviously digging in, because I think she asks if her mother believed in like ghosts, and like the father is like quite says that she did believe in that stuff, and it's a nice little speech, because it's the sort of thing where it could easily be him like running the mother down a little bit, but he's not doing that at all. He's saying she was a very like smart, intelligent, like special, sensitive person, but at the same time she had like sort of mental health problems. She was kind of disturbed. Now, in a way that's not totally true because of the nature of this show, but you can see why he's saying that. So I thought that was a good scene. That's a nice little scene. But yeah, as I said, everything is escalating, everything is being heightened, because at one point there's a really intense like set to between Rochelle and Ren when they're sort of having everything out, and Rochelle trying to explain herself. Now, I think that's one of the weakest bits in the episode, just because Rochelle is starting to like shout about Red Rose did it, Red Rose, and it is a bit on the nose, a bit melodramatic, that scene, and then how she starts screaming like Red Rose. They could have toned that scene down a bit, like just with her shouting that, but it's a solid enough scene anyway. But that's another example of what's going on, because later on the video is posted on social media, but it's made to look like it was a one-sided thing, and that Ren just went after Rochelle and kind of hit her, because she does sort of like shove her over type thing, but it's manipulated to look like it is just one-sided on Ren's part. So once again, her friends, that being Ren's friends, start to question her and why did you act like that? And Ren tries to explain. But anyway, from Rochelle's point of view, it builds to this really bizarre, crazy scene in a church because Rochelle realises what's going on and finally decides, okay, this app isn't a good thing, I've got to get rid of it. And she goes to a church and she starts looking up like exorcisms. So that's the idea she has, to like exorcise the app from her phone. And it's like, okay, this is a twist on the exorcism thing. And it's kind of batshit, because like, she reads out this ritual, she starts the exorcism, and she starts throwing holy water on the phone. It's like, what the fuck is this scene? It's crazy, but I kind of love it because it's so batshit sort of thing. But it's a fun scene because once again it's the character thinking and being proactive, but it's also a scene you can rip apart and have fun with, because it is, well, what's going on here? I mean, why would she think this would work? Like an exorcism on the phone? It's just a little nuts, but whatever. I'll roll with it. But it's, as I said, it's a fun scene. Also, it's maybe just a bit bizarre, like her turning to exorcism in a modern show. You know, you sort of maybe assume in modern Britain especially a lot of working class people, do they really believe this stuff? Would they necessarily turn to an exorcism? But I guess religious background and stuff maybe, but it's a fun scene. I'm not complaining. So at first it appears to work, and the phone like goes back to normal, but then of course it's episode 2, so it's not going to be that example, and the episode takes a really dark turn, because in the end you get this scene with like Ren and the others where they're standing around and they're all starting to make connections between Red Rose and what's been happening with Rochelle. And this is a nice bit of like storytelling, the way everything's connected, because you are given like a logical like narrative, and it's not just them pulling things out of the air. There is like logic to them coming together to make this decision, and Rochelle might be telling the truth, because Noah says that she mentioned to him Red Rose before. It was either before or after like she kissed him, so that's one incident. And then Ren, obviously the incident with Rochelle, and so there's 2 or 3 different things that point to them Rochelle might actually be telling the truth about this stuff. So it's nicely done, and you get a little bit of stakes and tension, and they all run over to her house, but it's too late, because like the father's gone away for the weekend. She's been left with the 2 siblings. No, sorry, the siblings have gone away as well with the father, so it's just Rochelle in the house, and it turns out then the app hasn't gone away after all, and Rochelle ends up killing herself in the bath, and it's really, really sad and dramatic. The father comes home, and she's like, the door seems to be locked, and he's trying to get in, and finally he does. And they rush over to the house, but, well, when they get there, because this is before the father returns, then they can't get any answer, and they're trying to get in, and they knock on the door, they shout at the window, and they don't get any answer, so they go away, and then the father comes home and finds her, and yeah, it's a tough scene to watch, because like the kids are there as well, so the father's like, stay away, but it really lands. That's the important thing. It really lands, and the results of it, the stakes, and how everything's sold. But yeah, it's a real surprise, because Rochelle's set up as the main character of the show, and then suddenly they pull this out. But what it all leads to, and what it sets up for the next few episodes, is really exciting, because this then motivates Ren, who sort of becomes like the main character of the show now, which I'm happy with, because I really like a character. I mean, I was liking Rochelle as well enough, but I think out of the 2, I actually prefer Ren a little bit more as a character. I think she's a little bit more easy to like get behind and root for, but yeah, it's a nice sort of turnabout, and it sets things up well, because they obviously have the funeral, and one thing about the funeral is they return to Barbie Girl, the song, but they do this different version of it, like operatic, like orchestral, because when I was watching the first episode and you had all this like 90s pop music, that took me out of it a little bit, because this is a modern set drama, so it's like, why are these kids listening to like pop music from the 90s or dance music? But what I like about this is then it's a really effective like funeral scene, and the way they use that different version of the song. And it actually does highlight the lyrics, and when you think about the lyrics, because like some people forget that song is like more satirical than you would think, considering it's an upbeat sort of pop song. Like they are actually like sort of ripping the piss out of that sort of culture, and you know how like women are like objectified, and how like the Barbie doll is sort of the symbol of that. So you can almost apply that to this when you hear like the lyrics. It's almost like Rochelle has been like manipulated by this force, or like she's been like objectified a little bit, and also just to do with, as I said, girls having a set role and like the expectations of society. And in this case, because she's like taking her own life, or well, that's what they think anyway, then you can apply it to that. You can apply it to mental health, and obviously things like snowballing to the point where you take your own life. But once again, it's good stuff from Ren, because she's the one who's saying no, she didn't kill herself. She doesn't believe that. And I like this for two reasons. One, because like there's logic behind it because of the stuff that Ren knows and what we've seen. So it actually makes like literal sense, and she doesn't believe it for those reasons. But also because it's just a nice thing where she doesn't want to believe that her friend would do that. Like, it's almost like she knows Rochelle so well, then yeah, she's not going to buy that totally. So it's all good stuff, and this is where it really sets things in motion for the series now, because at the end of the episode, you've got them in a group, and Rochelle is like, not Rochelle, sorry, Ren is actually like contacted by Red Rose on the phone, and it's this thing where like she accepts it and like the invitation, and it's because she says to the friends, I'm gonna find out what happened to her, and that's the hook, for the series now, which is great. I'm really happy with that, like the setup, and I'm because I had one or two doubts going into the second episode, and maybe some in the episode, but by the end of the episode, I'm totally down for this. I'm down for the ride now, and I like the hook at the end of this second episode. So good stuff, I think, from Red Rose. The only real complaint I was sort of saying is that you do get some, like, again, some of, like, the typical sort of drama, and because you get, like, little bits of drama with, like, each of the group, and, like, because you have, like, the girl who works in the pub, and there's a little bit of stuff going on there. You've got, like, you have a scene where Ren's mother is, like, going on a date with this guy, and Ren is obviously awkward about that and is a bit surprised. So stuff there, and I think there's, like, one of the other guys in the group, I think there's a little bit of drama with, like, at his house. I can't remember what it was now, but I'm just highlighting that stuff because that stuff did feel a bit more like, yeah, typical drama, soapy type stuff, which I don't really go to this sort of show for. And I sort of think in a way like maybe now Ren's the main character, so having a little bit of drama with her is fine because you get to know the character a bit more. And the stuff with her and her mother I have liked, so that's not really like a problem. But it's just this idea that we have to have a little bit of drama with each of the characters. It's like they can't just exist and interact with the main characters, and because really now the drama should come from like this whole plot, this Red Rose plot, and now Ren has this motivation to like find out what happened to her friend, and they do as well. So now that there's this focus, like, I think hopefully that sort of stuff we'll get less of it. But it's just a small complaint that to me you don't really need subplots or like sub drama with with every character. You know, 1 or 2 characters having a subplot, I think is enough, especially since there's only 8 episodes. But hopefully we'll move away from that now that things are in motion for the series. But yeah, good stuff. I enjoyed this episode and the direction that's set up in it. So that's episode 2 of Red Rose, called The Garden. If you've seen it, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe as always. You can share me out on social media. If you want to support me a bit more monetarily, there's a PayPal link on my channel. So if you just want to make up a donation, or you can support me at patreon.com/borednow, which is for a little bit extra a month, you will get some extra perks. So you can check that out, patreon.com/borednow. But I obviously do a range of TV and film reviews. Speaking of TV, another series I've started reviewing, I did the first episode of the new Amazon Lord of the Rings show, so you can check out that review. I am planning on doing episode 2 and then seeing how I go from there, really, because I'm a bit mixed on it, but I am planning on doing at least episode 2, so look out for that. But episode 1 review is up on the channel, so yeah, look out for more TV and film reviews. But I will continue with Red Rose. So thanks for listening, guys. See you soon.